Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
And now at 6, tragedy in New Haven tonight. An 8-year-old boy has been shot and killed. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Bridget Bjorlo. Tonight, police are calling the death preventable and senseless. Fox 61's Kate Pattyfoot is in New Haven tonight with the very latest on this investigation.
What we know so far is that New Haven police responded to a shooting incident Sunday night around 10:54 involving an 8-year-old boy. When they arrived, they located the victim with a gunshot wound, and he was later taken to Yale New Haven Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Officers say he did live at that home, and other family members were there, and they were able to locate the gun. In a statement from New Haven Police Chief Carl Jacobson, he said, quote, "Our detectives are actively investigating the sequence of events which led to losing an 8-year-old to a shooting. What is clear is that this was a tragic, preventable, and senseless death." New Haven police are urging anyone to come forward with any details they may have. In New Haven, Kate Pattyfoot, Fox 61.
All right, Kay, thank you. Now to a story that has grabbed the nation's attention and has made headlines for days. A man says his stepmom held him captive for more than 20 years, locked him in a room inside their Waterbury home. And new tonight, we're getting a first look at the moments that man was rescued by first responders.
Now, in this newly released body cam footage, you can see Waterbury first responders talking to Kimberly Sullivan outside her home on Blake Street. First responders can also be seen carrying her 32-year-old stepson into an ambulance, although his face is blurred in the footage. First responders say the man was emaciated and weighed only 68 pounds at 32 years of age. Police say the man told them his stepmom held him captive for more than 20 years. The man told them he had to drink from a toilet. There was always a lock on the outside of his bedroom door. He told police he intentionally lit the fire in the home so he could finally be freed. The man's stepmom, Kimberly Sullivan, is facing a list of charges, including assault and kidnapping. She posted bond last week. We spoke to Sullivan's attorney today, and he says Sullivan denies the allegations and plans to enter a not guilty plea next week when she is back in court.
Let's talk weather now. An overcast weekend and a dreary Monday, but don't you worry, the sun is coming back out.
Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank is here with the first check of the forecast. Rach, when do we get the sun back?
You didn't want to sing it? The sun will come out. All right, well, we won't do that. But yes, tomorrow looks brighter. It looks warmer. We've got 2 really beautiful days ahead of us. Just a couple leftover sprinkles out there in the state. You can actually see them redeveloping here. Not much in the way of measurable rain, but it's still just a little bit damp out there for the next several hours. And then notice there's the clearing line, and we will see that sunshine develop as we head into the day tomorrow. Here's a look at winds. Gusting as high as 25, 30 miles an hour, and that wind again bringing in some of that drier air, but we are not talking about cooler temperatures. We're in the 40s right now inland, near 50 for the Connecticut shoreline, and overnight lows that will be dipping back into the 30s as we head towards daybreak. So that's where we start tomorrow morning. 30s to begin the day, but 50s to near 60 degrees to finish. And we could be near 60 not only in the Hartford area, but even right down towards the Connecticut shoreline, because the wind will be out of the north. Overall, a really beautiful day, and it actually gets even warmer as we head into Wednesday. I did want to let you know there is a flood warning that is in effect for the Connecticut River. We're going to talk more about what this means and when conditions ease up. Your full forecast coming up in just a bit.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Big changes are coming to Interstate 91 right outside of the city of Hartford. A construction project is now underway to update the Dutch Point Viaduct on the southbound of the interstate. The bridge that's being upgraded is 61 years old, and leaders say the project will improve safety for the 50,000 drivers who use it each and every day. Crews will spend the next year and a half replacing the bridge deck of the 1,800-foot structure and install a new drainage system as well. The DOT says drivers will notice new barrier walls and highway lights in accordance with modern safety standards. The state DOT commissioner asked drivers to be patient during this time and to slow down and move over for construction crews on the road.
I know that these types of projects can be frustrating for drivers. People working in downtown Hartford may be used to a specific ramp that they take. Now we're going to have to take a little bit of a detour through 2026, but the end product is going to be really beneficial for us as a state and for the residents of Hartford.
Well, the project cost close to $92 million, with 90% coming from federal funding. It's expected to wrap in the fall 2026.
Well, state lawmakers are pushing back against the Trump administration's funding cuts to the local food purchase assistance program. This and the local Food for Schools program are pandemic-era programs that provided more than $1 billion for schools and food banks to buy food from local farmers. The funds helped feed hungry families and supported local farmers. Well, leaders say Connecticut is set to lose $3.7 million in funding, and we're told exactly 516 food banks and 131 farms will be impacted by these cuts.
I urge our leaders to recognize the critical role that this funding has played and to take action to ensure it continues. Because when we invest in local food for schools, we aren't just investing in kids, we're strengthening communities, supporting local farmers, and ensuring that every child, regardless of their zip code, has access to fresh, nutritious meals.
Well, the U.S. Agriculture Department says the programs are a legacy of the COVID-19 pandemic, and they no longer support the agency's priorities. Well, the U.S. Postal Service signed an agreement with the Department of Government Efficiency and the General Services Administration today.
The Postmaster General says it could save taxpayers billions of dollars. Jeff Locke is in Pennsylvania tonight with more.
There are now 33,904 post offices across the U.S., most of them in small towns, kind of like the one you see back there behind me here in Pennsylvania. You know, the Postal Service, not under the direct control of the administration, has its own plan for cutting costs, perhaps cutting jobs, but up until now has been outside the purview of the Department of Government Efficiency. But that is all changing. I show you a letter now from the Postmaster General, Louis DeJoy. He says he has now signed an agreement with the General Services Administration and DOGE to assist us, he says, in identifying and achieving further efficiencies beyond what they've already announced. That has brought immediate scrutiny and scorn from some members of Congress. The Democratic congressman from Virginia, Gerald Connolly, saying the only thing worse for the Postal Service than DeJoy's Delivering for America plan is turning the service over to Elon Musk and DOGE so they can, quote, undermine it, privatize it, and then profit off Americans' loss. This capitulation will have catastrophic consequences for all Americans. Fact is, the Postal Service does employ a huge workforce, 635,000 workers at last count, but it also does a lot of work, delivering mail 6 days a week to 165 million addresses, both commercial and private. All of that cost them about $10 billion more than they made last year. That was losses that have gone all the way back to 2006. They did in the first quarter, though, make a small profit this year. That said, the National Association of Letter Carriers says, you know, maybe we shouldn't think of the Postal Service as something that needs to make a profit, but maybe it's really not a business as much as it is a service.
You know, the people in this country overwhelmingly support the Postal Service. So it's no matter who someone voted for in the November election, no matter what their political persuasions may be, what the vast majority that did not vote for is some deterioration, degradation of the service that the Postal Service provides.
Yale police are warning people tonight to be on the lookout and alert after a group of kids carjacked a delivery driver. This happened on February the 24th, just after 4:30 in the afternoon. It happened in the 300 block of Cantor Street. You're looking at that area on the map on your screen here. Police say 3 boys and 2 girls forced the driver out of the car and stole it. The driver was not hurt. Police were able to track down the stolen blue Hyundai Elantra. So far, no arrests have been made.
Well, family and friends will say their final farewells to a Yale University police officer who died last week. A celebration of life service for Officer Gregory Suant will be held Wednesday at the Toyota Oakdale Theater in Wallingford at noon. Yale Public Safety says Officer Suant suffered a medical event last Wednesday. Last week, police from all over Connecticut paid their respects to Suant with a procession. He served in many roles during his 17-plus years in the department, including community engagement officer, field training officer, and bicycle officer. He is survived by a 10-year-old daughter.
And check this out. Fire crews in Berlin had to put out this semi-truck fire overnight. Now, thankfully, the cab was not attached to the trailer. Fire crews say the driver pulled over on Route 5 northbound at Hawthorne Drive, and that's when they noticed a burning smell and smoke. The driver was not hurt, but you can see the truck that was scorched.
And in Wolcott, a garage was destroyed in a fire on Wolcott Road near Long Swamp Road this morning. The car inside was charred in the fire. Several fire companies responded. Wolcott Road was closed in both directions at one point, but is back open tonight, and no one was hurt. The cause of the fire is under investigation. And 4 people were forced out of their home on Prospect Street in Meriden after a fire started on their porch. Meriden's fire chief says it started just after 10:45 last night. Firefighters had to deal with a dry fire hydrant and a downed power line. They eventually put the fire out. The fire chief says there is damage to the second floor and the roof, but no one was hurt.
Well, police in Norwich are looking for someone who they say helped themselves to a 5-finger discount at an AT&T store. Take a good look at this. They say this guy stole more than $6,500 worth of electronics. That's including 3 iPhone 16 Pro Maxes and 1 iWatch. This all happened last Thursday around 8:45 at the AT&T store on West Main Street. If you know this person or have any information that might help police, you're asked to give them a call.
Well, blink and you might miss it. A porch pirate was caught on camera nabbing a package in Guilford. It happened Saturday morning just after 11 o'clock. Police say someone in a red car followed a FedEx truck on Willow Road. The delivery driver dropped off a package, and within 1 minute of that delivery, someone stole the package. If anyone in the area has more footage around that time, police want to see it so they can track down that porch pirate.